Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my May wrap up. I did not read as much as I wanted to in May because I ended up having a really bad eczema flare up and that caused me to be sleeping a lot. My allergies were terrible. It just was not a good month. One of the books that I read that we'll get into did put me in a little bit of a slump that followed into June. But I am back in my reading mood now, which is really good. I still read a decent amount and I'm happy with the books that I read because I enjoyed most of them. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get into the books I read in May. This book I read in May was Hooked. I did read a little bit of this in April, but most of it I read in May. This was such a pleasant surprise for me. It was somewhat different because I've never read a dark romance quite like this one. I've read Twisted Love, but this was on a whole other level and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4.5 stars. It was really close to being a 5 stars, but I did end up giving it a 4.5. I loved the writing in this. I loved the plot lines, loved the characters. Hook's character, even though he was really evil and did a lot of bad things, his character was so enticing and well written because even though he was such a bad guy, Emily McIntyre's writing made you root for his character and made you want him to have a happy ending, which I really enjoyed. And Wendy's character I enjoyed in this as well. I'm talking about the characters, I haven't even said what it's about. This book is a Peter Pan retelling. So we have James, who is Hook, and we have Wendy. And these two end up having a relationship in this, the evil guy with the good girl. But that trope is just so good. It hits so good in this book. The fact that he was such a bad guy but she was such a good girl. Loved it so much. I did really enjoy this. I loved the plot twists in it. They were so good, literally had my jaw on the floor. This is about Hook and Wendy, as I said. And Hook really wants revenge on Wendy's dad, Peter. And to do this, he ends up getting it in with Wendy because Wendy comes into his bar and then comes up with a plan in his head like, oh, I'm going to use this girl for a pawn in my game. But this doesn't go the way he was hoping for. He ends up falling for the sweet girl, Wendy. And it was just so freaking good. I highly recommend this book. Next up we have Twisted Games. So this is about Reese Larson and Bridget. Guys, I love this book so much. It was so good. I can't remember if I gave it a 4 star or a 4.5. Pretty sure I gave it a 4 star. Reese Larson, loved him so much. Like, he was so much better than Alex Volkov, let me just say that, who is the first boy in the Twisted series. This book was so much better. Even though I gave them both the same rating, I did enjoy this one a little bit more. So maybe it's a 4.2, 4.25, but I don't really rate things. I go 4, 4.5 and then 5. So yeah, I did end up giving it a 4 star. The plot in this was so good. Like, I loved the forbidden romance. Bridget is a princess and her brother ends up, what's the word for it? I always forget the word for it. Abdicates, which basically means that Bridget has to become queen. Even though she doesn't want to be queen, Bridget thrives off of her freedom. She loves love. She wants to fall in love with a guy and have a very love-filled marriage, but obviously with her becoming queen she has to marry someone in the throne, I think that's what you call it. She just doesn't want a loveless political marriage, but she's kind of forced into it. During all this, her and Reese, who is her bodyguard, end up forming a connection. She wasn't expecting this at all because her first meeting with Reese Larson, he was so arrogant, he was so bossy, he was quite rude. And as she gets to know him, she realises that her first impression wasn't quite right, and Reese Larson is much more than just a moody, arrogant guy. And I just loved the bodyguard romance, the forbidden romance. It was so angsty. You just was rooting for them all the way through the book. Reese Larson was moody but so sweet, which is what I really enjoyed because in Twisted Love, Alex Volkov was just too much. He was so, like, possessive in a bad way, whereas Reese Larson was was possessive in a good way, and it was just so good. And just the cute moments that they shared, the moments where when they were running around and hiding their relationship, was just so exciting to read about. And also it helps that Bridget was just such a good character. Like, she was so interesting, so kind-hearted, just wanted the best for people, and I just loved that. But yeah, again, the plot twist in the Twisted series just hit different. I love Anna Huang's writing. It's such a fast read. This series is quickly becoming one of my favourite series. Even though I haven't rated any of the books 5 stars quite yet, I just love them because they're so entertaining and easy reads. The Heartstopper series. I did a whole reading vlog on this if you want to see my reactions and everything. It is spoiler filled. Oh my god, these are literally a hug in a book. They are such wholesome romances, while also touching on dark topics, which I freaking love the way Alice Oseman represents dark topics. She has done something incredible with these books, and I think every single person needs to read them because they are absolutely beautiful stories. But yeah, we have Heartstopper 1, Heartstopper 2, Heartstopper 3 and Heartstopper 4. But I'll just tell you what the first one's about because I don't want to spoil the rest of the series if you haven't read it. This story is about Nick and Charlie, and they end up in the same form group. Charlie ends up sitting next to Nick and they form a cute friendship, but slowly they realise that they are feeling more for each other than just friendship. They have a really, really good connection. They are literally like best friends, and I just love this series because you just get to see these two boys fall in love, help each other out with their struggles, and yeah, it's just such a good story, and I love it so much. I could not stop smiling while reading these books. There was just everything to me. Nick and Charlie are everything to me. Their personalities shine through these books as well. They are some of the best characters ever, and I just want a million Heartstopper books because they are the best. I could talk about these books for hours, to be honest. The Heartstopper series is absolutely phenomenal. I love how relatable the series is. I feel like everyone can relate to someone in the story. I really relate to Charlie as a character. But yeah, definitely read it if you haven't. I gave that whole series a 5 stars. Another one of my favourite reads, and I can't believe I've got to wait till October for the next one. The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This book was just so magical, made me feel so many emotions. Jax is, I know I've said like they're my favourite characters, but if you asked me who my favourite character was, I would tell you Jax from The Ballad of Never After and Once Upon a Broken Heart, because his character is just so freaking good. He is just so enticing, he's so mischievous, he's so mysterious, he is compelling, he's everything. Love him so much, and I really enjoy Evangeline in this as well. The writing in this book is just next level. It's such beautiful writing, so fast paced. Stephanie Garber's storytelling is just such an exciting story. I'm not going to say much about this book because I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read the first book, so I'll just tell you what the first one's about. The first one is about Evangeline. Someone who she's in love with is getting married, so she ends up striking a deal with the Prince of Hearts, Jax, and to stop this wedding, but she soon realises that striking a deal with the Prince of Hearts is not a good idea because there's always a price to pay, and Jax has this conniving side to it. He's manipulative. Yeah, I'll just say that. In this book we get to know Jax as a character a lot more as well. We figure out why he is the way he is and why he's wanting this certain thing so bad. So yeah, definitely read this book. If I can give you one reason to read this book, it is Jax. But also Evangeline's character is such a sweetheart, and I just love how magical these books are. I literally feel like I'm reading a Disney film. I feel like Disney would do so good at making this a film. I want it to be a film because it's just incredible. If you take any of my recommendations, please read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series because it is my favourite thing in the whole entire world. Magnolia Parks. I do not think this lived up to the hype at all. I gave it a 3 star. This book was just so draining to read. I was getting so irritated with the characters, I just couldn't enjoy it. I did annotate it a lot because I will say Jessa Hastings' writing, the way she portrays emotions, is so beautiful. But that's all it was to me. Like, the writing was beautiful, but I wasn't connected to the story. I wasn't connected to the characters. I didn't care about anything that was happening in this book. Like, it was just the same crap over and over again. Just these two people, BJ and Magnolia, being toxic to each other, cheating, manipulating each other. It's just, Magnolia's so stupid as well for staying with this guy and going back to him all the time. I just didn't care. I mean, if you did enjoy this book, I am so happy for you, because I really wish I could enjoy this. I can see why people say that it's like Gossip Girl, but the difference is the Gossip Girl characters have personality. The characters in this had zero personality. I feel like all Magnolia and BJ were each other's partners. They had no substance to them. That is just my opinion. I'm sorry if I'm going into one of your favourite books right now. And everyone cries at this book and I just felt nothing. Nothing at all. And I'm sad because I wanted all the books for this series because they're so beautiful, but there's no way I'm continuing this series. Although I did give it a 3 stars, because was some of the drama entertaining? At first, yeah, it was. Like, the first 100 and something pages, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good, it's pretty entertaining. But as it went on, I was like, this book has no lead being this chunky. So much of this book could have been taken out because it's literally the same thing over and over again. And I enjoyed the texting elements in this as well. And I did also enjoy Magnolia's second love interest. I thought that story was a kind of interesting, but also not really. This is coming up in a YouTube video very soon, hopefully. I haven't read the 2 other books for that yet, but yeah, and I'm so sad that the book started off on such a mediocre start, and I'm so sad. This was such a disappointment for me, and I'm actually so annoyed because I really thought I was going to enjoy this because everyone was saying it was like Gossip Girl. I don't really need to say what it's about because I already did. It's about BJ and Magnolia being toxic to each other. That's all you really need to know. So that's all it is, to be honest. Next up we have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is a part of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I originally gave this 4.5 stars, but it's gotta be a 5 stars because I just enjoyed this book so much. I said it felt like 5 stars but didn't give it a 5 stars. It's a 5 star. I don't know why I was being so fussy because this book was so flipping good. I loved the story. Everything about this was just magical. The Disney elements in it, the theme park, just the setting, I loved so much. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 5 star. And also the characters added so much as well, obviously. And characters are the most important thing for me in books. Rowan was a grumpy guy and Zara was such a quirky sweetheart. I loved her so freaking much. I loved the characters so much in this book. And the couple, their banter together, they were hilarious. Rowan's relationship with Zara's sister, she's so freaking sweet. When they went on the rides at the theme park, this book is honestly engraved in my mind. And also the last 30 pages in this book just had me smiling so freaking hard. This whole series is basically about 3 brothers and they are all billionaires. They have a lot of money. Their granddad ends up dying, and to get their share of the company they have to do something that the grandfather has ordered. Rowan has to take over the theme park that his grandfather owned. He has to redo it, refurbish it and make it a better theme park for people. He ends up reading Zara's drunken proposal about a certain ride, Dreamland's most expensive ride, and Rowan, even though he wouldn't say it, he saw something in Zara, so he ends up hiring her for a job to revamp this whole place and give ideas. Slowly he ends up realising that this was a mistake because he ends up falling for Zara. I love Grumpy Sunshine. I don't think I've read a book that was Grumpy Sunshine that I haven't enjoyed. It just always hits for me. It is my absolute favourite trope. And also the fact that the Disney park was added into this, it just made it so much better. And I think Zara is actually my favourite girl character that I've ever read about. I just loved how badass she was while also being this absolute sweetheart. It was just such a fun mix. But yeah, definitely read the fine print. I can't wait to read terms and conditions. Please don't drop, please don't drop, please don't drop. No, 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 please don't drop. Ah. I've got on the wrong way. This is so difficult. So here are all the books I read this month. Well, last month now. It was a really, really good reading month, even though I didn't read as much I wanted to. And I feel like I should have read more because these only took me a day, and I also read like half of Hooked in the month of April, but it doesn't matter, it's quality over quantity, right? But I'm super happy with the books I read. I found so many favourites. I had 6 5-star reads, obviously including the 4 graphic novels. So that is just incredible. And I'm even more excited for June because I'm starting my summer reading. My June TBR will be up the day after this, so go check that out if you want to. I hope you all enjoyed seeing what I read in May. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Sorry if I've spoken really fast. I feel like I always do when I film these videos. I get a bit too excited when I talk about books. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.